Anime is too expressive. Not even English cartoons are that extreme in noise. Okay, see, that's where I disagree with you. The Simpsons, Animaniacs, Family Guy, there's lots of Western cartoons where characters are ridiculously emotive and no one behaves like them. This has been my biggest complaints with anime. I've tried time and time again to start watching some because people recommended them for either the story or action, but I just cannot get past those overdramatic slow-mo shots, but the talking doesn't get any slower, and someone takes 30 seconds to say 2 words. Immediately pulls me out of the show and I can't get back into it. Honestly, this was the reason I used to hate anime and never wanted to watch it, but I think that's more along the lines of growing up being programmed not to express any notable amount of emotion than anything. I like anime nowadays, but I do not love it for this reason still. I don't really like anime at all, because the style is just not my thing. The sounds are a big part of it, the whole overacting annoys me. I don't like people who are deeply into anime, because mostly they start to act the same way. It's just nerving. Fun fact, I once wrote an unpopular opinion about that, but it got blocked from mods, because that was no unpopular opinion obviously. Laughing face. I watch mainly subbed anime because of this reason. Also, they have like 6 voice actors for dubs and it gets annoying hearing that same woman in almost every anime. You know the one I'm talking about. I bet this post was inspired by the same woman, lol. It depends, usually that happens with certain genres more than others, for example shonen like Naruto, Demon Slayer and other animes like that, which are targeted to kids mostly. If you get on more serious works it happens less frequently, but yeah, I agree with you. That's what brought me to more mature content in the first place. I mean, it's supposed to be over-the-top expressive, from one perspective. It's often done for comedic effect, then again, there are certain animes that keep expressions to a bare minimum. Action animes which focus more on the fast-paced sequences usually keep expressions as simple as possible. Anime is whack. But that's why I like it. There's a reason why out of all sorts of media in this world I flock to this specific one. Maybe my mind works in different ways, but I truly enjoy it. Maybe your problem is comparing it to real life? It's not real life, it's animated. It's its own thing. If you don't like what it is, then don't watch it. OP, thank you for this post. Finally someone who agrees with me. The entire medium of anime is bad. BC, I saw a show with some obnoxious characters that I didn't immediately connect with. BC, they didn't meet my need for realism and my entertainment/s. Everything should be super realistic, and if entertainment doesn't perfectly replicate real life then it's bad and I don't get it/s. LOL, such boring opinions. This just in, cartoons are not the same as real life, more at 11. Now, for your traffic and weather. I agree 100%. How many episodes of anime have you watched? Anime isn't realistic? Never would have guessed. I hate the cute female comedy sidekick trope. They are never funny or cute, just annoying. Seems like you think anime is like how it is depicted in Rick and Morty or South Park. This just in cartoon melodrama is unrealistic melodramatic. I disagree. Anime is like because they can express things that humans cannot express in real life. That's what makes anime so great. The overreacting and the sound effects are all used to build either tension characteristic and to draw the viewer in. This is what makes anime so unique and why we watch it. I hate anime that solely rely on anime tropes. They're always obnoxious. It's one of the conventions of the form. It's not meant to be realistic. Exactly, this is the reason I don't watch anime anymore. Yes, they might have good plots/stories, but this stuff kills the fun emo. Man, these high schoolers in this American TV show are so beautiful or incredibly muscular, while this detective show really doesn't like to follow proper police procedure. Hold on, how are these American sitcoms always able to afford such great housing/apartments on such poorly paid jobs? It's called fiction. That's not all anime, WTF. I agree with this so much, I'm going to upvote. I always liked it that way. It makes me feel happy to be able to experience the highs and lows of human emotion. Still, I guess it's not for everyone. Anime is cringe and tries to normalize pedophilia. I will die on this hill. True in some cases. Doesn't mean it's not fitting a certain character or story setting. Well, thanks to the dweebs that watch anime, people do that in real life. Then watch real TV or something? Don't mind it. This is a problem? I feel like you're also behind the video games cause violence movement, meanwhile your so is playing Stardew Valley in the background just chilling. People IRL don't talk like they do in Western movies and TV either. It's almost like they're dramatized. Anime is life. It's almost as if people watch it because it's not real life, smiley face. I think it's because of the format maybe, drawn animated faces can only translate so much expression, and humans being the social animal we are, need more than just words to decipher intention in language. They need to be delivered in a specific way for us to understand the context of the conversation. Seeing as animated characters can't one deliver on the many micro-expressions that real people do, voice actors have to deliver everything in a cartoonish way for the viewer to understand and make up for the lack of other usually telling forms of communication. That's the cool thing about television though. You can just not watch it if you don't like it. I agree with your post though. Except animes from Ghibli Studio, those are neat. All of them. I read manga way more often than I watch anime, so I guess the over-the-top expressions work better in that medium because they don't really bother me. In fact, in some manga the facial expressions can really make or break the comedic bits for me. I always wondered where did all that came from. Then I started watching kabuki theater, and it all made sense. This is most animated media in general. I kinda agree, although I think it's to fill the void of micro-expressions that is impossible to see on an anime. Hey Race, another daily, I hate anime and you should too. So you're telling me y'all just been watching live action your whole lives without getting bored? Sign me up. Oh no. Cartoons being unrealistic, it's the end of the world. Picture it as a melodrama, and it gets much better. I always thought the reason anime characters are so wild with their expressions was because they are showing their real inside emotions and not holding them back like we do IRL. That's why the dub is the best way to go. I think that's the point. But okay. Animation is a medium, not a genre. You're only paying attention to a certain subset of anime. It may be prevalent, but there's other stuff out there. This doesn't affect me because I don't understand the language, and I just read the subs. This problem only hurts when it's dubbed because then it feels like real people acting goofy. Cartoons are dramatic? Wild. Dude, watch Berserk. So do you think PPL in real life talk like they do in movies? Constantly coming up with one-liners? It's just like that for every form of media. I guess that's why it's called fantasy, because it's unrealistic. This could be said of like 75% of major syndicated TV shows and movies as well. It's not real life and it's not supposed to be. Get over it. It's like complaining that South Park is violent, just read manga. Gasps, no way. Ahoy matey. I think the word you're looking for is dramatic. A significant part of anime consumed by English ETA is geared towards children, so of course it's over the top expressive. Kids media in English is out-expressive also. Don't like it? Don't watch it. I don't. This isn't even an unpopular opinion. TLDR, anime is gay. Depends on the anime and whether you're watching subbed or dubbed. In a lot of cases, dubbed anime lacks, in my opinion, effective delivery. And there's a lot of bad anime. The problem is it's really just a medium and I find only 15 to 20% watchable. But there's a lot of it, so that still leaves me with plenty to watch. The ones that aren't super expressive usually aren't popular. I like that anime can happen on whatever time frame and plot you want it to. There are no gravity, aging, species, or injury risk restrictions to it. After a long time of being recommended Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, I finally got around to it. I love the world, the aesthetic, the ideas, everything. Except the stupid, over-the-top chibi rage faces. Killed it stone dead for me. Every single time it happened, it dragged me right out of the show, and made me cringe so hard. Ed, and Eddie. I've been feeling like this for the last few years. I can't stand anime dialogue anymore, and the art is always a lot less detailed than manga. I just stick to reading manga nowadays. It depends on which you watch, but it's true they are generally more expressive. I like to watch more serious animes which have a lot less sound effects and weird little music cut in. Maybe they don't watch anime means forcing their face with tears of joy. Have you seen the Twilight movies? Watching dubbed anime? I feel like a lot of older anime suffer from that to make the stiff animation more exciting to watch. Not that I don't see it in the new stuff, it's just usually used for comedy and simple slice of life stuff now, I think. Nani? While I imagine that if anime were more realistic, they wouldn't get as much as an audience, I disagree with the last statement. It is quite expressive, and I wish people were like that more often. The Nun. Stop. Screaming. Depends on the anime. That's like saying you don't like movies because there's too much CGI in them. Can't stand it for exactly those reasons. The OTT tropes that kick in whenever someone is surprised, upset, angry, happy are just so cringeworthy that I can't get past it. Any non-action animes that aren't like this that I could try? Finally someone says it, LOL. I also don't like anime for its animation quality. Western animation, at its peak, is always better than anime emo. How is this unpopular? I read expressive as expensive and was genuinely confused for a moment there. Depends on the genre. I mean, it is a form of media, usually considered a cartoon, so. I completely agree. There's so much anime out there that I have been really interested in watching because of the concept or story, but I can't make it past a couple episodes before I get tired of the overacting. I do believe that is the point. Obviously no one talks like that IRL. There are more serious genres of anime geared towards older audience that don't do those over-the-top sound effects, like josei, adult women genre, and seinen, adult men genre. The shows you were watching were probably geared towards a younger audience, shonen genre. That's kind of the point of the medium. It's understandable if you don't like it, but I personally would be quite upset if anime as a whole lost that. What English cartoons are you watching? Those make all sorts of noises too. Wow. Fiction behaving like fiction? Who would have ever thought? I get it, I love anime but cannot stand plays/musical theater for the same reason. There's flying ninjas that can teleport and conjure demons, talking animals, hair that defies gravity but they wake up that way and this is what you're worried about? Upvoted. Yeah. It's a cartoon, mice don't go around turning hijinks on cats. Yeah, if you want examples of how real people talk and live, watch Marvel movies. I think it's over the top so that people who have trouble identifying social cues due to autism or other factors can follow it easily. I think that it appeals to people with autism for this reason. I personally don't like it, but I don't think that it's a bad thing at all. Someone has something they enjoy, and that's great. Bruh. You don't watch anime for the plot, thinking face, grinning face with sweat, anxious face with sweat, anxious face with sweat, flushed face. You mean you don't announce your moves before you attack? Most of the times it's made on purpose because it emphasizes the actions of the characters and it gives them more life. Of course it's not realistic, it's anime, LOL. Sometimes it's stupid though. Like when you look around and the hair has a will of its own and makes noises. I've watched some anime in the past. I think that you are watching the wrong shows, LOL. My philosophy with anime is if I'm gonna waste my time on anime, I'm gonna only watch the best shows. I only really watch the top animes, and none of them rely on overreacting. They all have genuinely amazing storylines and plots. It's the style of animation and art. Goku wouldn't be nearly as loved if it wasn't so over the top. Same with cartoons, because the core target audience is really very similar. Not just anime but animated shows in general tend to be overly expressive. This kind of just sounds like you haven't seen the right shows that would pique your interest, like the opinion doesn't make any sense in a wider context when shows like A Salient Voice or Your Lie in April or March Comes In Like a Lion exist. All of which I highly recommend. Saying too many anime are loud and unrealistic makes more sense. However, your opinion is your opinion, like if all you're watching is say shonen shows where loudness and weird character dynamics are prevalent. These tropes or characteristics are either liked or not minded by the primary audience that enjoys the overall show, like you can enjoy a show overall and ignore the few characters that annoy you. It just means that that show is simply not for you. LOL, like every English sitcom is much worse. I think by now I just accepted it. Sometimes it is a bit obnoxious. I feel the same about Western animation, they move way too much and over-animate things. Escherome from Halo Infinite is good example. He literally never stops moving and talks with his hands like a Medea character, then add in the fact that he's sick but more energetic than anyone else, and it's like, I prefer anime because of the range. Right now I'm going through a lot and I've found 2 manga that feel like they understand me. Nah. I disagree. I like it. That's the point. It's not meant to be realistic. No one watches anime because it's very true to life. Though there are a few more mature realistic anime. But that's not their target audience. All cartoons are overly expressive. Bro, Looney Tunes had hearts beating like 4 feet beyond the body. Eyes bugged out, enlarged, woogas, etc. Who cares? Yeah, which is why they're better at portraying novels. Internal monologues and feelings are much easier to show on a cartoon character's face that isn't held together by the laws of physics. It's the ridiculous high-pitched screaming that turns me to dub every single time. Have you ever watched network television shows? They're cartoons. What cartoon doesn't have overly expressive characters? Yeah, and K-A-Pow also doesn't appear in the air when I punch people either. What gives? I thought this stuff was supposed to be real. It's not supposed to be realistic. This is reminding me of all the people who watched the Les Miserables movie and said there's too much singing. If you don't like a certain genre, don't watch it, but don't blame it on the genre. I feel the same, lol, and I was once thrashed for pointing this out. People were like, a CFU, this is the authentic reaction, you don't know anything about voice acting, blah blah blah. No, this is just true. Anime is simultaneously cheap, easy entertainment and back-breaking underpaid work. Bad all around for those reasons. Honestly, this is partly why I have been so fond of recent works like Castlevania, Dota, and Arcane. They basically borrow a lot of the maturity and fun of anime but without the hang-ups. Don't get me wrong, I'm partial to some anime quirks, but they can be alienating. One example is the expressiveness you mentioned, but I saw another good one mentioned in a YouTube comment on Castlevania. How almost an entire episode was a fight/action sequences. No speeches back and forth, no pauses, no excessive dialogue, internal or external, just 30 minutes of fast-paced action. You are absolutely correct. Even me, as a not-so-savvy average fan, I can't get myself to watch anime with overly expressive characters, and find characters who are laid back with ASMR voices are much better to listen and watch to. It's because the faces aren't drawn with enough detail, because it would be very expensive and timely, so they have to add the over-expressiveness to get across the character's emotions. I have bad news for anyone who's ever seen any Marvel movie ever, it's the same. I love the over-the-topness of it all. Really adds to the fight sequences sometimes. Beyblade Metal Fight will forever be one of my dearest and most sentimental delights of my childhood. As an anime nerd, I kinda agree, LMAO. Not unpopular. LMAO OP saw one article/YouTube video and decided to generalize an entire medium that covers an entire spectrum of different topics and themes for all age groups, not exactly an unpopular opinion for those who lack experience in the subject.